Mistake 103 I made whilst trying to grow my business. There's a few, aren't there? This one was effectively outsourcing something that shouldn't ever be outsourced. And I didn't do it out of laziness or even consciously, to be honest. It just kind of happened. Looking back on it now, I realise that it really was one of the biggest reasons that I kept changing direction and not making any progress. So the mistake that I am talking about here was listening to too many voices at the same time. I was joining different networking groups, taking advice from people that I'd met there that I respected. I was following different experts, attending various different trainings, talking to business besties, getting advice, anyone really that I saw as a few steps ahead of me. I got chatting to them and I asked them, and it wasn't that their advice was bad advice. They weren't dishing out bad advice. They weren't trying to trip me up. They weren't trying to eliminate the competition or anything like that. The problem was that I was taking all the different advice at once at the same time, which meant I was effectively trying to build 17 different businesses at the same time, which is absolutely crazy and utterly confusing. You see, different business models need different strategies to grow, and what works for one type of business might not work for another. For example, if you're running high ticket group coaching to corporates and you're running Facebook ads to try to, reach the masses to get some contacts and things, it's likely not going to get you very far, because that's not really how corporates buy. Whereas doing the same thing for a business that's selling low ticket to individuals, that's trying to expand their audience and get new leads in, it's a completely different story. Another thing that wasn't taken into account with all these different pieces of advice was personality differences. So, for instance, some people will make videos that are like character videos, and they'll get loads of interaction, and people will tell you that they love them and they say they have fun making them. But I've never really been one for acting. I feel a little bit awkward just doing this. So, it was never going to work doing something like that for me. And that was probably going to repel people more, because they would feel that awkwardness and that resistance. The third thing is the situation. I don't have the same 24 hours in the day as a single 26-year-old with no kids. Like, I'm a mum of 3, I'm 40, I'm, doing all the juggling. There's small mouths to feed, constant interruptions, illnesses, inset days, school holidays. I got to be at the school gates for 3:30 every day. It's a very different situation. So, what I did to sort of stop all this was I asked a different question. I stopped asking what they would do to achieve my goals, and I started asking what would work for me and my business and my goals, because it needs to make sense it's got to make sense for you, right? When you're implementing these things, it's got to make sense for you. And just because something is right for one person, it doesn't mean that it's right for you. Like Marmite, for example. My husband has Marmite on his toast every morning, and apparently he says it works really well. I say, get it away from me because it is disgusting and do not ruin my toast. So really what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you are drowning in everyone else's opinions, you know, like, use this as a takeaway and a guide, and start sort of doing things that work for you and your business and your goals. I'm Jenny Dougal, and I'll see you in the next video.